supports quality programming on 8 Arizona PBS, 480-725-9602.
On the next Arizona Horizon, a new study finds that sitting is not the new smoking. And a historic Arizona resort near Phoenix is undergoing a major renovation. That's on the next Arizona Horizon.
Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
I love Frontline. I think the things they do are always surprising, controversial, but controversial in the best possible way, meaning subjects people are afraid to touch. I think for me it was opening my mind to things I would not have been exposed to ordinarily. I love independent lens, stuff you're not going to find anywhere else. It's the kind of stuff you turn on late at night and you're so happy you watched it. And you think, I'm so changed because of this program. And that's something that only PBS can do.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
Next time on Father Brown, Lady Felicia is blackmailed into betraying her lover.
Tell me who you're working for.
MI5. But after a man is killed, she escapes with a secret.
What's on it?
Something worth killing for.
Father Brown.
Saturday night at 7 on Arizona PBS. Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from...
I'm David Goldstein, owner of Biltmore Loan and Jewelry. We buy or loan on upscale assets. We have over 30 years of experience in determining values of automobiles, jewelry, art, collectibles, and antiques. For more information and appointments, biltmoreloan.com.
Support comes from the Citizens Clean Elections Commission. To inform and prepare voters, Citizens Clean Elections provides resources and tools to help you vote informed in the upcoming election on November 6th. Learn more at azcleanelections.gov.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
With just 6 days until Election Day, some Arizona voting trends are holding, and some are changing quickly. We track the latest early ballot returns.
And after President Donald Trump called for the end to birthright citizenship, one Arizona native reflects on how that right has impacted his life and what's to come for future generations.
Plus, more troops are being deployed to the U.S.-Mexico border to prepare for the migrant caravans. We went to Nogales to talk to politicians and residents about the impact this may have on their community.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Jennifer Alvarez.
And I'm Bryce Newberry. Thank you for joining us.
Today is the deadline for mailing in a ballot for Arizona voters. 1.2 million Arizonans have already sent in their ballots to the state.
That means about 56% of Arizona votes are already locked in. And day by day, we've been tracking the demographics behind these early ballots.
Maps released by the Secretary of State's office show how precincts are leaning in terms of ballot registration. Deeper red for Republican ballots and deeper blue for Democrat. More than 1,230,000 ballots have already been processed by the Secretary of State. The average voter age for statewide early ballots is 60 years old, and 10% of the early ballots returned so far are from people who have never voted in an Arizona general election.
The country is watching Arizona in the midterm election this year because voting trends are changing from years past. Reporter Gabriela Becerra talked with analysts who are tracking these changes.
Arizona Secretary of State's office is tracking these early voting trends, and a popular focus in Arizona right now is the split between Republican and Democratic votes, as well as an increase in youth voting.
Hey guys, have you all voted in the November election yet?
Sarah Landers and other organizers for Next Gen are working to push the youth vote every day until the election.
We are answering questions. We're encouraging them to go drop off their ballot literally right across the way.
By hosting events like these, they're hoping to raise the amount of young people casting ballots.
In the last midterm election, only about 20% of young people actually voted.
Senior analyst for the Secretary of State's office, Garrett Archer, says there has been a gradual increase in youth voters over the past couple of years.
I've seen the youth vote has probably increased by 2 or 3
maybe 4 percentage points over 2014.
Archer is also tracking different trends in early ballot voting, including the possibility of becoming a blue state.
Our elections have been fairly consistent since 2010, especially the midterms. We have not had an election with a party split this low in the early ballots.
As of this morning, 43% of ballots returned were from Republicans and 34% from Democrats. While anything can change by November 6th, Archer says early ballots are a greater part of the vote overall.
Early ballots absolutely tell the tale of the election simply because they are the majority of the ballots cast.
While the county's suggested date to mail in those early ballots ends today, you can still drop them off at early voting locations up until November 6th. Live in downtown Phoenix, Gabriela Becerra, Cronkite News.
President Donald Trump criticized Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan today on Twitter for not supporting his motion to end birthright citizenship. Ryan says he agrees with the president about getting to the root of unchecked illegal immigration, but claims you cannot end birthright citizenship with an executive order.
Well, you obviously cannot do that. You cannot end birthright citizenship with an executive order. We didn't like it when Obama tried changing immigration laws via executive action, and obviously as conservatives, we believe in the Constitution.
Trump's tweet said, quote, Paul Ryan should be focusing on holding the majority on birthright citizenship, something he knows nothing about. Our new Republican majority will work on this, closing the immigration loopholes and securing our border.
For some Arizona residents, birthright citizenship is more than a legal theory. It's how they define themselves as U.S. citizens born in this country, although their parents may have been here illegally at the time. Ian Solomon and our Washington Bureau caught up with one such citizen from Arizona.
When Arizona native Francisco Fernandez heard about President Trump's proposal to do away with birthright citizenship, he reflected on what citizenship has given to him.
So I'm able to pursue my academic careers and my academic goals and pursue so many things that only a citizen can benefit from.
As an Arizona State University alum who now works in Washington, Fernandez worries the opportunities afforded to him will be denied to future generations if Trump succeeds.
Because had it not been for citizenship, I would not have the opportunities that I have now, and I'm able to chase what I want my American dream to be, and I can't imagine other kids not having that.
He may not have to imagine that after all, says immigration policy expert David Beer of Cato Institute.
Because the policy is legally dubious, it's doubtful that anyone should really be concerned about this policy proposal, because it is very likely that it would be struck down by the courts.
Congressman Ruben Gallego agrees, tweeting yesterday that birthright citizenship is literally in the Constitution. This is nothing more than a typical Trumpian bluster. Whether it's legal or not, Beer says the proposal would not be in the country's best interest.
You want to create a unified country where everyone who lives there and grows up there knows that their identity is wrapped up in the success of America. And that's something that would be lost if we moved away from that policy.
And that sense of identity is something Fernandez holds close.
And I just can't imagine what my life would be like if I wasn't a U.S. citizen.
While there has been debate, no progress has been announced towards President Trump's proposal. In Washington, Ian Solomon, Cronkite News.
President Trump said today that he would like Congress to act on the issue of birthright citizenship, but is willing to issue an executive order. Officially, however, the White House has yet to reveal any details on how it plans to move forward.
More than 1,000 troops are currently being deployed to the U.S.-Mexico border to provide support to Border Patrol in anticipation of the arrival of the migrant caravan from Central America. Today, President Trump said that number could go as high as 15,000. Cronkite News reporter Holly Bernstein went to Nogales yesterday to speak with local residents and politicians about their reactions to the deployment.
The president made those comments to reporters today at the White House. He says the U.S. is going to be prepared and the migrants are not going to come into our country. Residents in the border town are concerned about the impact. I also spoke with the Nogales mayor, who says he has not been contacted with information about this deployment.
And it feels like we're in a militarized zone. We don't need any more.
The town of Nogales is bisected by the U.S.-Mexico border. Thousands of troops will soon be deployed along this area to assist Border Patrol with the migrant caravan coming from Central America. A physical divide has also created a divide of reactions to the troops within the Nogales community.
I would say very little to none impact. I mean, it's happened before and a lot of people notice it, but it doesn't really affect anything. They do what they do.
Nanette Miranda, who owns an art gallery there, says it makes travel and business harder.
Many people who live and work here have business and or family on both sides of the border. So to the extent that it impedes movement across the border, it's just not necessary.
Nogales Mayor John Doyle says the troops act as a deterrent, providing additional barriers and logistical support for the Border Patrol with a large amount of people arriving at the border.
That it's nothing personal, nothing about that we don't like, people from Central America or something. No, it's not about that.
Doyle also says he has not been contacted by military officials regarding the troops' presence.
It would be appropriate and they would show some respect for the community leaders to at least let us know what's going on.
Other residents, like shop worker Myra Alejandra Reyes-Gaxiola, are sympathetic to the migrants in the caravan.
I think it's very sad because people come from very far away so they can have an opportunity right here.
The troops are expected to be deployed until mid-December. Along with Nogales, troops will also be deployed in California and Texas. In the broadcast center, Holly Bernstein, Cronkite News.
A new program is set to inspire students in South Phoenix.
Coming up on Cronkite News, Valley Metro's newest STEM-based program will influence the next generation of engineers.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles. In Cleveland.
In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
This election day, depend on Cronkite News for coverage on Arizona's hotly contested midterm races. Learn more about the candidates and propositions in Arizona's ballots on cronkitenews.azpbs.org. Watch live on Election Day at 5 p.m. on Arizona PBS with the latest as Arizonans hit the polls. Then join us at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live and on Arizona PBS World for live coverage and reactions to the results.
Valley Metro is expanding their efforts from the streets to the classroom. I went to South Phoenix to discover how a new program is set to inspire the next generation of engineers.
South Phoenix is an underprivileged neighborhood that has not had the opportunities of other neighborhoods.
The reality is that this is a community that doesn't have that natural path. They don't have natural mentors in place like other communities do.
That's why they're taking it upon themselves to mentor these students. Valley Metro and PGH Wong Engineering are launching a STEM-based program called Engineers of the Future. And students, they're excited.
Yes, I really do love this. We get to build stuff and have fun and learn lots of things about it and meet new kids.
Not only meet new kids, but also meet new engineers.
We are a minority engineering company, and so we strongly promote minorities in the engineering field.
According to the National Science Foundation's most recent report, minorities continue to be underrepresented in the science and engineering field, with over 66% of employment for whites and around 33% for other races and ethnicities. This program aims to improve these numbers by mentoring young students.
If you start early, you can get people thinking that they have a future that it maybe isn't one that they naturally have thought of. Maybe isn't one that they're exposed to on a day-to-day basis.
An impact can be made early on in students' lives in the 7th and 8th grade so they can imagine what it's like to be an engineer and follow that through high school and college.
But the ultimate goal of the program is much simpler.
To give people a chance, to give bright kids a chance to thrive, to give back to the community that's giving so much for this. This is not our project, it's their project.
And at the end of the day, students don't just leave with a cupcake, but with something a little extra, the opportunity to develop a career. And that's icing on the cake. The program will focus on 7 schools in South Phoenix and will mentor students through support and design projects throughout the school year.
Leaders in Alzheimer's research in Arizona gathered today at the Arizona Alzheimer's Consortium to discuss future paths for research. Dr. Matthew Huntelman, a professor at the TGen Research Institute, started MindCrowd in 2013, which is a worldwide internet-based memory test. He presented some of the findings so far on his study and on the progress that he has made. Huntelman thinks that by studying healthy aging in brains and how learning and memory work during the aging process, they will be able to prevent Alzheimer's for people that may be at risk.
The interesting thing is that some factors in our life, some lifestyle choices, like smoking or diabetes or hypertension, those have different effects in women or men. So I think one of the new things we're learning is that we have to pay attention to these differences between the sexes, because that's a big factor in how your brain performs.
Since the study began, they have been able to attract more than 100,000 participants. Their goal is to get 1 million, and Huntelman says he hopes that they will be able to reach their goal quicker. The next phase of the test will be to select specific individuals from the memory test to provide a DNA sample for evaluation.
If you're looking for plastic waste on the campus of Northern Arizona University, chances are you won't find too much.
Coming up on Cronkite News, I look into the university's new composting efforts that are now translating to the greater community.
And there's nothing scary about this beautiful weather we're having this Halloween. I'll have an hour-by-hour look at your trick-or-treating temperatures coming up.
Cronkite News weeknights at 5 on Arizona PBS.
Universities in Arizona are being more sustainable in how they handle food waste and plastic. Northern Arizona University this year banned plastic straws. The alternative? A straw that gets composted. I found out these efforts on campus are also showing up in Flagstaff businesses.
I see all the plastic in the ocean, and I really want to make sure NAU isn't contributing to that.
That's why NAU student Emerald McCormick brought a reusable food container system to campus in January.
A lot of students are really excited for it. That's why we expanded all across campus, because they kept asking for it.
The waste from these food containers doesn't go into the trash. In fact, at least 90% of NAU's dining hall food waste is composted. The waste eventually ends up in piles hidden behind campus.
All that soil just goes back to NAU. So we use it on landscaping, we use it on community gardens, we use it in our greenhouses, it goes to community members, so it's just all recycled back into our community.
The university says composting saves on garbage costs. Last year, more than 300,000 pounds of food waste made it into the compost piles. This year, compostable straws could make that number higher.
It was a pretty easy and small plastic, disposable plastic that we could get rid of on campus. And also at the same time create a behavior change and get students to start thinking if they really need all of the plastic disposables that they use throughout the day.
That behavior change is spreading to Flagstaff businesses. Laura Diaz is the NAU student pushing for a straw-free Flagstaff.
People are very in tune right now to single-use plastics and the waste that they're creating.
An example of that right here at this coffee shop, where plastic straws aren't available anymore. Coffee goers can get a paper straw and pay a fee for a plastic cup.
NAU is always going to be a really big influence, on all of us, and their ban kind of makes it more known to the students as well, and it kind of just starts to be a normal thing as people go around.
As the new norm takes effect, Diaz hopes to get at least half of Flagstaff businesses on board by 2020.
I really just am looking for some sort of mindfulness around straws. I am not about the plastic straw situation, obviously. I hope to see those eradicated pretty soon.
Jennifer, I also found out that Arizona State University has similar programs in place. Food is composted and straws are not available in dining halls. The University of Arizona didn't respond to our requests for comment in time for the story.
But the real question is, are candy wrappers recyclable?
Haley, how are our temperatures looking for the trick-or-treating tonight?
That's right. Well, our conditions today are beautiful for Halloween. If you are planning on heading out tonight to celebrate the Halloween holiday, maybe you're going to go out trick-or-treating. Well, the real treat for you are these gorgeous temperatures we've seen all across the state today. Right now, 5 o'clock, maybe you're heading out from work, getting those kids dressed up in their costumes, sitting at a beautiful 75 degrees. A couple hours from now, we're going to drop down into those upper 60s. And by 9 o'clock tonight, for you night owls, maybe heading out a little bit later tonight, we're going to be sitting in those mid-60s. Now, even better news, we have very little cloud coverage across the entire state, quiet across the radar. We just have a little bit of wind movement going on in the southern part of the state, and that air is going to dry everything out and cool down our temperatures. This all in response to a low pressure system that visited our area, bringing down those temperatures. And as that wind pushes that system out of the area, we are going to begin to see our temperatures begin to rise as we go into the weekend, but not quite yet. As far as tomorrow, we're going to keep it relatively cool for this time of year, topping out at 78 here in Phoenix, 55 up in Flagstaff and Heber, 56 in the Grand Canyon, and dropping down pretty low for our low tomorrow night, 57 here in Phoenix, 30s up in the high country. And like I said, we're going to warm up back to about average temperatures for the rest of the week, staying in those low 80s by this time next week. In the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Haley Brandt.
There's a good chance Mr. Incredible will be sworn in as a citizen today.
Or maybe a princess or a wizard too. Coming up on Cronkite News, a look at a special citizenship ceremony specifically for kids who are being encouraged to come in costume.
If you're looking for one show that tells you what happened that day in the world of business, it's NBR.
We saw a classic shipwreck.
Nordstrom's opening stores.
Triple-digit gains.
Crude climbs.
We're there to help our audience find new investment ideas.
The market still has room to go up.
Nightly Business Report is the longest-running business television program in history.
Weeknights at 10:30 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Matt Berry, ESPN Sports Center anchor and graduate of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. With its bachelor's and master's degrees in sports journalism, the Cronkite School is preparing the next generation of sports journalists to tell stories that matter, stories that excite, inspire, and inform. Cronkite immerses students in covering sports at all levels in one of the country's top sports markets. It's this hands-on experience under the guidance of award-winning sports media veterans that shape the top journalists of tomorrow.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Halden gave me a chance to make a difference. Being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot be solved alone.
Celebrating Halloween just a few days before a pivotal election can always make for some interesting costume choices. In fact, Halloween mask sales have accurately predicted presidential elections since 1980. But we talked to some Halloween shoppers and a sociologist today about the impact our political climate has had on their seasonal fun. Most pointed to social media and extreme viewpoints as the scariest part of Halloween.
I mean, I've seen a kid on Twitter dressed as Donald Trump, and they're like, I'm not going to give him candy, and I'm worried for like that kid. But yeah, for me, where I am, I'm not worried about myself, but for others, it may be, yeah.
I think what happens is people, because there's so much news media kind of attention to some very pivotal events lately, people can see those and then think that they personally are in danger, when in actuality, they're probably not in any greater danger than they were before.
There was a bonus for some young trick-or-treaters today. They took the oath of citizenship as part of their Halloween celebration. Charlene Santiago brings us the story from our Washington bureau.
They were 35 children from 22 countries who came to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services office here to celebrate their new U.S. citizenship and at the same time celebrate a uniquely U.S. holiday. Not all the kids were as excited about the oath as they were about their costumes, but to their parents at least, it was more than just another Halloween.
Today was a special day for him that he became a U.S. citizen.
Together, they all vowed to serve and protect the country they call home, whether they were princesses or superheroes.
He's going to have the same values and he's going to get the same rights of what a U.S. citizen is all about. So he's going to have the same rights, which we, our generation, have worked for it.
Dima Rush is 10 years old and came to the U.S. from Iraq about 6 years ago. But today she was more than excited for both her Halloween costume.
I think it inspires me.
And for the ceremony.
Do you like it here?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's more safe and all, and it's protected by soldiers and all.
It was like any other Halloween. Parents were present, taking videos and pictures to share with those who couldn't be present.
My dad goes on rotation. Basically, right now he's in Kentucky. I was a little sad that he wasn't able to come to see me. And my mom's taking videos for him to see me. That's my favorite part.
The kids went trick-or-treating through the USCIS hallway after the ceremony, but that's not the only reason this will be an unforgettable Halloween for these families.
Well, for him, he was only 9 weeks old when we brought him home here, so this is the only home he knows of. So I'm just going to tell him this was a celebration of his homecoming.
In Fairfax, Virginia, Charlene Santiago, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, a new study finds that sitting is not the new smoking. And a historic Arizona resort near Phoenix is undergoing a major renovation. That's on the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour. Inside the fight over mining a key chemical used in farming and what it means for the Florida coast. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Think Wednesday on PBS for stories from the world around us. Stories of feline families.
Cats have conquered almost every corner of the planet.
Ancient crimes.
This is a 4,000-year-old cold case.
And saving our cities.
Would be a catastrophic flood.
For stories that get you closer to life. Think Wednesday.
Tonight starting at 7 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Arizona PBS deeply appreciates every gift we receive, and we are proud to honor our Executive Society. These supporters believe in the mission of public television and are making a real impact in our community. If you would like to join the Executive Society, please call the number below or log on to azpbs.org to join. Thank you.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online. Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
Next time on the Dr. Blake Mysteries.
Cause of death, poisoning of some kind.
When a judge is murdered,
Claire Llewellyn has made a full confession.
Blake thinks Monroe is protecting someone.
Why was he keeping us out of this room?
The prime suspect is a powerful man.
Jock Clement. He's a personal friend of mine.
And the case may cost Blake everything.
I'm removing you from all duties. Get out.
The Dr. Blake Mysteries.